of all the organisations that crashed in the US during the global financial crisis, like Lehman Brothers and Fannie Mae and Bernie Mac, there were no women directors on any of their boards. And if they had been boards that were made up entirely of women, I think you would have heard a lot of gender accusations around, why the global financial crisis happened. But if you really look at what happened, it was a case of, bad decisions, corruption, more bad decisions, and very few women involved. So the idea that appointing women into risky positions is automatically going to put an organisation at financial risk, I think was dispelled uniformly during the crashes of those very big banks in the US during the global financial crisis. And I don't think that people reflect on that enough. I mean, it's a complex thing. I mean, there was a lot to do with the way their banks are regulated and the way their markets operated. But I do think that if you have a more diverse board, women, cultural diversity, people with different skill sets, you're more likely, there will be less collusion. You'll be more likely to make decisions that are sound and effective and sustainable. And that's been proven in study after study after study from big consulting firms like McKinsey & Co, Bain & Co. They're all available on our website. Diverse boards make better decisions. They have higher share prices, they have lower financial risk. And that's not just about gender diversity, it's also about diversity amongst people. But you get people from the same group all patting each other on the back and supporting each other's bad decisions, then it's a recipe for sometimes very poor decisions being made.
There is general consensus in the market that a more diverse leadership team, a more diverse board, is a better leadership team. And the decisions that have been through the more diverse team will be more robust, they'll be more thought out, that opposing views will have been thrown into the mix, argued out, and what's been tempered through that process is a better decision. And that's one of the reasons that organisations are starting to recognise that organisations with a more diverse leadership team will outperform their competitors who have a less diverse leadership team. Not always, but generally across the market that is the case. But what is happening is organisations are saying that they want to change the demographics of their leadership team, but organisations aren't doing the things they need to do to change that.
So obviously a better balanced board makes better decisions. If you have a board that's totally skewed in one direction, so financial, being astute financially, as opposed to having other skills like being really good with people or having good governance practices or legal acumen, then that sort of creates a homogenous environment. So for chairs of boards and for boards to look to be broad in terms of their skill set means that they will go out and hunt for people who are a bit more different, but it also reduces their risk, because if you have a diverse board or a diverse management team, you actually get better decision making. You might get an increase in conflict because people are viewing things from a different way, but it means you're mitigating lots of different risks and you're able to cover more bases. So the business case is really there. It's just a question of will, commitment, and people taking risks, because if a woman becomes a CEO and makes a mess of things, then often it's seen as being, oh, she was a woman, she made a mess of things, we won't try that again. Whereas if a man becomes a CEO and makes a mess of things, then it's not really put down to his gender, it's put down to him as as making a mess of things as an individual. So those sorts of risks of people sort of going out on a limb and preparing to, take a punt on someone and providing them with the right support so that they can succeed is also really important, because without that we won't start to make any change.
how much longer do Australian women have to excel in all levels of academic study? How much longer do women have to have absolute equity in terms of entry-level positions and yet fail to be adequately represented and included at executive levels and in governance levels on boards?